test out the shield. All right.
Loading.
All right. Hey, this is Ugly Old Goat here with Juan Galt, and we got two special guests. We got Tone Vays and we got Joe Sass. And we wanted to do this because you know what? Tomorrow we get in the expedition and drive up to Vegas for Unconfiscatable and can't wait. It's going to be such a great weekend. And I want to kind of show you what's going on, okay? And so this is cool. And you see that big white light in the middle? That is the Bitcoin Standard Bearer Award. And this year it's going to go to Tyler Jenks. And we have, I'll be bringing up 12 other staffs. And the whole thing behind this thing is really a fundraiser. We're going to be selling them. They cost about $400 to make, but we're going to be selling them for about $1,500 and about 0.15. We're not going to sell for dollars. We're going to just sell for Bitcoin, 0.15. 0.1 of that will go to the recipient. We're not sure how we're going to do it with Tyler Jenks yet, whether it's going to be, but it will benefit him or his legacy. And if you get a staff, next year you can be in the nominating process. This shield, I'm going to Malta and Understanding Bitcoin. And this shield is going to be for Bitcoin Guardians. You know what? We owe a lot to these developers who are way beyond us in their understanding of Bitcoin, at least the back end. I think I know a little bit about the economics, but I'll plead ignorance when it comes to the back end. And these guys, particularly the people who've just come in the last few years, they work for nothing. They didn't get on the ground floor and mine, you know, Bitcoin when it was free or anything. And so we want to reward them because nobody pays them. We just have to do it on our own appreciation. So we're going to do the same thing with a Bitcoin shield. I've been talking with Tone. He says, oh, yeah, but we need to have a sword, too. So I guess I'm going to have to work on that, too, for next year. But for right now, we've got the staff and the shield.
Yeah, show them the staff. This is a new version of the staff.
Yeah.
We're going to have these at Bitcoin and Unconfiscatable as well.
Right.
So.
And these come in, there's two, so you can hold them kind of on a short staff or long staff. That one with the white light is the one that has Tyler Jenks' name on it. And so I've got, like I said, I have 12 of them. I'm going to take all 12 at the conference. If you're going to the conference and you want one, go to the website, right on the front page, scroll down. Can we do that now? Can put them on the website and we'll show you to scroll down and you can order. It's 0.15 Bitcoin. We'll hold one back for you. And then what we don't sell, I want members to get it first. And if you're going to attend the conference, the first 12 people that order are going to have those stats. You can still order one and we'll get them to you within 4 to 6 weeks. But we are, you know, we want to sell those that we made here first. So there it is, Bitcoin Standard Bearer staff. You say purchase here, go ahead and show them how it's done. And there it is. And there it's going to Tyler Jenks. You know, Tyler was so enthusiastic. He was so happy holding that staff last year. And he said, Ugly, you know, Ugly, I'm so glad you did this because Bitcoin needs to start traditions. The Bitcoin Standard needs to start traditions. And this is such a great idea. And I agree. We do have to start a tradition. And I want these awards in Bitcoin to be on par with, you know, what we call the Nobel Prize now. And we have the Bitcoin Standard Bearers. We'll have Bitcoin Guardians. And we haven't figured out maybe the Bitcoin Bulldog or something with the sword. But we want to reward particularly you know, the people that really contributed to the Bitcoin Standard, and every year make it an outstanding award that goes, you know, that we do at the Unconfiscatable.
Yeah, and Tyler Jenks would definitely be the first sort of.
Yeah, he was hands down. It probably won't be a posthumous award again, but this year it was the only way to go. So, anyway, I know we're real close to Tyler, Joe. What do you think about this?
I think it's beautiful. I love the idea of his legacy. I mean, which he pretty much immortalized himself, and I love the idea of supporting the community around that. And Tyler was one of the best men that I've ever met in my entire life. I think it's such a great thing that you're putting all this time and energy into things that contribute to his legacy. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, well, he came up with a lot of terminology that I thought was great. One of them I'll never forget is, is Bitcoin is not ready for prime time. And and that was really which was really great. And he always, his research was always very thorough. And so I know that he's coming out with a book here pretty quick, isn't he, Tone? What's the situation on this book?
Yeah, we were hoping that the book would be ready by Unconfiscatable, but unfortunately it's not. But the book will certainly be ready by the time all of us are in the Dominican Republic for the next financial summit. So hopefully everyone that attends that conference will get like the first original copy of that book. Unfortunately, Tyler Jenks can't sign it himself, but Leah and Socrates, who are also a big part of that book, they will, it won't be easy getting that book signed by both Leah and Socrates at the same time. And I myself could sign it as well. I know I'm mentioned in that book quite a bit. So those books will be very, very unique. Tyler Jenks can't sign it, but getting us three in the same place, Unconfiscatable is one of those places. And there's these events, like I don't know how much longer I will keep doing these daily YouTube channels, but I think these events are going to stick around and for everyone to get together, and I think they're going to be great.
Well, I've been told that picture that we used with Tyler holding the Bitcoin staff, that's going to be the front cover of the book. Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know if it's the front cover of the book, but it's definitely in the book.
It's in the book. Okay.
I honestly have not seen it. I can't wait to talk to Leah about it. I'm sure she'll have pictures. We all should be here. I think. When are you guys coming to Vegas? Is it on Thursday? When are you guys showing up? Wednesday?
We're
Thursday?
driving up tomorrow, so we'll be up there. Hopefully, we'll leave by 9 or 10 in the morning. We should be up there. It's about an 8-hour drive. We'll be up there about 5 or 6, maybe later.
Oh, and Juan, always good seeing you, man. You and I go back to what, 2014, like early 2014 days, man.
Yeah, man. Good to see you. You're killing it.
All right. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I think I met Juan the first time in Acapulco, and he impressed me there. And then I saw him again when we went to Bogota. So
yeah, no, I remember that in Acapulco. That was when Roger was promoting Bitcoin Unlimited, and I was on a panel, and you stood up in the back of the room, like
yeah, I made a bet with him.
$10,000 bet.
Yeah, they said they'd publish that, but it got buried somewhere. They didn't like that challenge. So anyway, yeah. And the thing I like about Juan, Juan's from Colombia, and I don't know if you knew this, but in federal prison, the Colombians kind of run the show because they're the best businessmen. They never grew. I think they grow the cocaine in Bolivia.
Yeah.
And then they take the Colombians to get rid of it, to sell it. So that's a I probably shouldn't be talking about this because it's not doing us any good. Yeah. But that's a fact of life. I said, but I had the highest regard for the Colombians because they ran the stores, they did the laundry. They're very hardworking people and good businessmen. Just
I'll take it, man.
So anyway, yeah, that's our main reason I wanted to do the show. Mainly, hey, if you're not going to Unconfiscatable, man, you're going to miss out if you possibly can go. I didn't realize it, but there's only going to be really one day of the conference. So what if even if you're in Arizona or Southern California or Nevada, you can drive up there Saturday morning and spend all day at the conference and get back at night, or just spend one night there. And really, it'll be a very intense day. I'll probably on Friday, Thursday or Friday, robocall all of Nevada again, and maybe we'll point it out to them to see if we can get some more walk-in people. Because this, I mean, I can't believe how you put all this together, and I don't know how you're gonna get it all done in one day.
Yeah, we have a lot of good speakers, and we're already talking about like next year. What do we do? Do we make it a 2-day conference? We still have these workshops. The poker tournament's got to happen. The carnivory dinner's got to happen. So we're trying to work it out. I actually want to set dates for next year. We got to, everything is, man, life is hard. You end up doing everything last minute, and it's very, very challenging. Like the mission for next year is to like not be stressing out. So Unconfiscatable is going to be front and center as of like the summer, like right after understanding Bitcoin ends June 1st, planning for unconfiscatable next year begins. We want everything finalized. It's going to become a much, I don't know how much bigger it'll get. I really like these. I don't like conferences that are over 500 people in size. So we do want to limit it to about 500 attendees at maximum, maybe even less than that, because the venue that we are using right now only fits about 350 to 400. And I really like this venue. The D Hotel where we are is Bitcoin friendly. The owner is Bitcoin friendly. They have a Bitcoin ATM. The restaurants at this hotel accept Bitcoin as payment. This hotel has always been Bitcoin friendly since going back to the 2015 days. This hotel also has an interesting history. The first Bitcoin conference that took place at this hotel was back in 2015, and that was the first ever public appearance of Craig Wright pretending to like be Satoshi. So this hotel where this venue is has a Bitcoin history, and I'd like to keep that going.
That's great.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I mean, I know what it was like last year. Unfortunately, we have children at home, so we're coming up early. I want to be in that pinball tournament. I don't know if you know this, Tone, but I had a pinball machine when I grew up as a kid, so I'm pretty good at pinballs. I know just how to touch them right without tilting them. They may not be the same. I mean, it's all this new technology.
Oh, we were there yesterday. We got there a little late. We wanted to play a bunch of machines just so we can like pick out some of the better ones that are, you know, for gameplay. We may have to come back there and play a few more machines, but they have most of the classic ones. We're also looking at, you know, like the all-time rankings of people's most favorite machines of all time, and they have many of the top 10 ones.
See if they have the Black Knight. That's the one I had in my
basement. Which one you want, Ugly?
Called the Black Knight.
Black Knight.
Black Knight. An old, yeah, we still have it, and my son has it in his garage. He actually put it together once when he got out of college, and we had it working again. But yeah, if they have one called the Black Knight, you know, everybody's toast. You need to ban me. But yeah, I got a broken. I'm kind of be like the deaf, dumb, ugly, deaf, dumb, and blind, ugly old goat. So this is one game where I feel like, you know, it's just touch me, feel me. I'm gonna. I own this. I own this pinball tournament.
Wow.
All right, and that's humbly speaking. Okay.
Snack talking begins. It's gonna be good.
All right. I wasn't really planning on talking about the markets, but then Joe tells me we went over 10,000. I think I sold a bunch of March. I bought that thing when we went below the previous week's low and tweeted everybody that I was doing it, and hopefully they got on board. And the thing that bothers me the most is, you know, we are at a pretty big contango. So basically what I'm trying to do is sell the March against my December that I bought earlier and just pick up the difference in the spread. So let's see where my position.
Guys, I can't really stick around. I got to get back to conference planning. Though I do need to do a video of my own soon. I'll let you guys go. But just one question for you, Ugly. How's your trading been this year? We're almost 2 months in. How is your P&L for 2020 going?
Oh, well, let's go look at it. Can you put it on right now? I think I'm about 2. Last I looked, I started with 0.6 Bitcoin and we're at 2.8. So not too bad, but I was up to about 4.
That's pretty good. That sounds like what? Like a 200-300% return in
I'm up about right now about four almost 5 times. I was up to 6x at one time. Yeah, 2.8. I started with 0.6. So I'm not doing too badly. You can scroll down and show them the current position. Looks like I just did some nice. My problem is I'm fighting Ethereum again, and that's not helping me. But yeah, here we go. It looks like I just sold some March. I was long. I sold some March. I'm starting to sell March against the December, because I just want to kind of lock in that spread. You're at about $260 over, and so you can actually pay the funding and lock in most of that anyway. Probably lock in at least $200 per Bitcoin. So it's kind of it's an arbitrage. It's a no-brainer. It's a way to, between now and the expiration date, as you well know, Tone, March is going to be trading at the same price as the perpetual. So there's a $281 to be made there, after paying the funding.
Oh, speaking of one thing off the topic, Ugly's the one person that scares me the most in the Dominican Republic trading competition. I feel like you're going to be the one that I'm going to have to go bring my best
we
for.
do. We're at this year's financial summit. We didn't do it last year, but at this year's financial summit, we will have like one night will be an official poker tournament, and another night will be an official trading challenge tournament and competition. And I still have to come up with the rules that everyone's happy with, but this kind of trading isn't very conducive to Ugly because it'll be directional trading, and Ugly is a direction neutral trader. He may be able to pull it off, and if it happens to be it'll be a 4 to 5 hour trading competition. And the big challenge that I have is I want an even playing field, so I want to make it a zero leverage trading competition. So you are trading with no leverage. Everyone's coming in with, say, 0.1 Bitcoin, right? So let's say we got, if Dominican Republic, and I'm expecting it to be approximately like Bali. So let's say we have a good 25 financial guys there, and 15 of them enter the trading competition. So 15 people, everyone drops 0.1 Bitcoin. So we are talking, say, 15 grand in the prize pool. Now you trade that 0.1 Bitcoin, and what you would do is we would select 1 or 2 or 3 exchanges that you are comfortable with, but even playing field, everyone has zero leverage, and you have 4 to 5 hours to trade your 0.1 Bitcoin, but there's no leaderboard. So you don't see who's ahead and who's behind. And without leverage, you can't, in the last 5 minutes, take on, a lucky trade. You're like, hey, I'm going to go 100 to 1 in the last 5 minutes of competition. And if I lose it all. And if I win the competition. But here's the thing. The winner gets to keep everybody else's Bitcoin. So everyone drops 0.1, and whoever has the most Bitcoin at the end of the competition in zero leverage trading gets to keep everybody's Bitcoin. Maybe second place will get the keep.
How's that going to work if I'm on an exchange? Do I have to pay another 0.1 to the player, or because if I lose the 0.1, it's going to somebody?
Well, it's going to be very difficult for you to lose 0.1 with zero leverage trading in 5 hours, Ugly.
Okay.
I just don't know how it's possible, right? Like imagine, right? You're even as a day trader, right? Like a non-leverage. Like if you're a day trader with $1,000 and you want to trade Apple stock with zero leverage, how is it possible for you to lose all your money in 5 hours?
No, that's true. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess you go short.
No liquidation. Yeah.
I don't know.
You wouldn't get liquidated.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still.
Well, let's see. I guess I have to understand. I have to read the rules.
I think this is exciting.
Just tell me the rules and I'll play. How's that?
Yeah, this has been one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to is going head to head with some of the greats.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be fun. Hey, we'll be up there. We'll be driving up tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow then, Tone. And good luck on this conference. Not good luck. You've got it all put together. It's just great. I don't know how you do it. I keep making this offer to these devs. I'll give somebody all my Bitcoin if I can just trade my age with them. If I can be 30 or 40 years younger, I'll be glad to give somebody all my Bitcoin for that, but they haven't figured out the program how to do that.
Yeah, don't we all? Man, I'll do the same if I can go 20 years back. Oh man, I was gonna say one last thing. Oh, Ugly, did you see the scammies? Did you vote for the scammies?
Oh yeah, yes. I did. I voted for I know I voted for Roger Ver on one, Craig Wright, and Richard Hart. I consider Richard an honest scammer. He's very upfront. He said, this is a scam. I said, this is a Ponzi scheme. I only had a problem when he started I knew they eventually have to go there. He finally started to use, well, this is better than Bitcoin. And now I go, oh, that's when I rolled my eyes. Now he's, now he's, that's really what he fell in a camp like everybody else. But I call it honest corruption because he very much, came up right up front and said, this is a Ponzi scheme. And I've designed it to be a Ponzi scheme and we can all get rich. So.
Yeah, and your vote, Ugly, is going to count quite a bit because the fan vote that you already did, the total only counts for 1/3, but the conference attendees count for another third, and then you're a conference speaker, so your vote counts even more.
Whoa!
So, your vote's going to weigh quite a bit.
Well, I'm going to have to put a lot of thought into these questions then because I want to.
It's a tough competition. Who's the biggest scammer in crypto?
Well, we got one more. We got one more category coming. We just thought of it, so it's gonna be 10 categories in total. I gotta tweet this one out. It's gonna be so we're about to put up our 4 finalists for the shitcoin shill of the year.
Okay, all right.
Wow.
I don't know. I think that probably has to be Richard Hart. He kind of won that.
Oh no! Richard Hart's not in that one. It's like influencers that shill shitcoins.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna be tough competition. That's gonna be a tough competition.
Yeah.
All right, Tony. Hey,
guys.
I hope did you bring your staff? I hope.
I did not bring my staff. It's at home. I didn't want to check bags. But no, that staff is still at home. I did not bring it.
All right. Well, I'll have you. We'll let you hold one. Okay.
Right. I figured you're bringing a lot. I'll do some photo ops.
We'll the way you ship those is you just break them in 2 and then wrap them with bubble wrap, and it goes through. That's how we did it when we were in Valley. It went right through. So. Yep. I think we even did a carry-on. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
No, they wouldn't let me carry it on last year.
Oh, yeah. But I think.
All right, guys, I'm going to get going. Thank you so much for having me on the stream. I'll see you guys here. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah. I'm all excited about it. Hopefully, I can't wait to see everybody. And
the hotel is totally sold out, by the way. And it's one more thing. So last year when we did this conference, we were like conflicting with. There was some kind of like a rifle association event, which drew a lot of people to Vegas. There was the porn convention with the adult video awards that brought a lot of people to Vegas. And those two weren't even the biggest conference in Vegas. The biggest conference in Vegas was apparently the cement convention.
Oh.
You would think that why on earth would the cement convention draw in so many people? But that's because there's only one cement convention in the world a year, and it's here. So anyone involved in construction was actually here in Vegas. So this year,
cement's a big business. I mean, it really is. It's a very, very big local business. It's a big industry. So yeah.
So what happened was, so this year, when we chose this date, there wasn't anything going on in Vegas. But then now we have the big heavyweight boxing fight, Wilder versus Fury 2, happening the same night as our conference. And then 2 weeks ago, Trump decides to come here. So Trump will be here on Friday for a rally.
Oh, wow.
Invite him to the conference.
Yeah, well, he might be. That rally might be right in front of the D.
Yeah,
that's the ball.
Maybe the carnivory dinner.
It could be right there, So wow,
that would be so Vegas is. I mean, actually, our conference pretty much sold out this hotel, unfortunately. So if you're still thinking of coming, this hotel is sold out, but you can get a hotel right nearby. It's getting crowded here. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, we rented a suite because I didn't know what it was going to be like this year, and so hopefully, at least for our members, they'll be able to come and we'll have a little hospitality.
Yeah, no, well, Ugly, I'm aware. I tried renting a suite at this hotel, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have any more," and I'm like, "Oh crap!"
I jumped on one right in the front.
Ugly got one, and a few other people got one, so it was like 5 people from our conference took all the presidential suites.
Well, you know what? I tried to get a 2-bedroom upgrade. I think the 2-bedroom might be in there, but for an extra bedroom, like they were going to charge me like $3,000.
Oh God, no.
Yeah,
no,
45, and I'm paying 1,500 already. And I said, no, not for an extra bedroom, you know. And he said, is it any bigger? And they said, not really. So I said, gee whiz. So, at any rate, well,
All
we'll
right,
see
guys,
you
I
tomorrow.
gotta
If you
run.
need, we'll see you.
I'll see
Yeah,
you guys
later,
soon.
Tone, man.
Later, Joe.
Thanks.
Moon
Good luck
be with you,
trading.
Tone.
Yeah, by the way, hey, the price is back above 10. You were
Yep.
right not to be too concerned with your order book. We're gonna, after the conference, we're gonna have a little update on all that.
Yep. I actually been documenting a lot of notes as to how people can have observed the changes in the market, and there's a little bit of discretion involved, and I've been noting when to use discretion and when to rely solely on the indicator or the data. So I plan on having a lot of great stuff coming forward. This is just building and building and building. I just can't wait to continue.
Oh yeah,
to
no,
show
for
this.
sure. Anytime you get your hands on some unique data, it can take up to a year to come up with the perfect trading plan. All right, guys, I gotta run, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys.
Later, Tone.
All right. Joe, you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about your stuff? Apparently, I guess you bought this market too. I sent out a tweet. I said, hey, you take out the previous week's lows. I said, I don't know if it'll do it or not. So I'm going to buy it above the low and it breaks the low. And then I'm going to keep some reserve in case, because the only thing I didn't like was the Contango was pretty high, but that doesn't mean it can't be wider. And so I said, you know what? You need to keep your powder dry in case you really pop that market and knock out the Contango. You need to be out there buying the futures then. But none of that happened. That the market, it's firm. It should, it should hold. But boy, that Contango still bothers me. It really does. You got to come down, $270 between now and
it was like 400 and something a couple of days ago.
So that, like I say, what I'm doing is the December I bought, I'm selling March against it.
That's
March.
Is this the screen? Am I sharing it?
No, you're not sharing it.
Well, let me change this because this is too. We'll just go like this. Yeah, I mean, I just sold. It looks like I sold a little bit. Yeah, I was long. I was long. Oh, am I sharing now?
No, you're not sharing.
Okay, let me go. I'll share. Sorry, guys. I'll send a little newsletter with my trades on it. In case you guys are listening and you're not a subscriber, what I do is I send screenshots of my trades along with the trades that you get all the history of my trades since February 4th of last year. I started with 2 Bitcoin and took out in 2019 32 Bitcoin. And on the first of this year, we started with 0.6 and now I'm at 2.8. So, and we're doing okay. I like I say, you guys learn a lot more from my mistakes, and I always write about my mistakes, and I even predict them. I said, well, I'm doing this against all my rules just because I'm an ugly old goat and I can do it. So, but that's how you learn. You really learn. You learn more. You're going to learn more from my mistakes than you are my successes. And so, I don't recommend that you subscribe unless you first have a hodl, and your hodl should be, at least 2 or 3 or 4 Bitcoin. And then you just trade a very small portion of that. That's the secret of success in trading. If you don't, but if you don't have any Bitcoin, you just need to start dollar cost averaging. You can make an initial purchase. I don't have any problem with that. And then just buy on a regular basis. You want to have 5 to 15% of your wealth in Bitcoin. I have no problem having 40%. There was a time when I had 100% in it. When I first got in, I was pretty well broke and bought my first Bitcoin off overdraft protection.
I've been mostly all in for like 5 years.
Okay. So yeah, and then you have to learn to trade a little bit because, like I say, what I teach is money management. Hodl, hodl, hodl. And I even make a song. It's hodl, hodl, hodl. Save, save, save. And that's a bastardization. SAYV. V is savvy, because you need to take money out. Once Bitcoin goes up, hey, sell a little bit, take your wife out to dinner, buy a new laptop. In my case, the goat lady wanted
Sports car. What's it like?
no, an F-250. Well, she had she bought what is it, a Raptor, and she bought
Like
it.
top of the market.
Yeah, she bought the Raptor here when it was $20,000. She held it a year and sold the Raptor when Bitcoin was $3,000. So she's a hell of a lot better trader than I am, because I actually did a tweet: buy Lambo here and sell Lambo here. So the Lambo standard. So you want to do that. And then the third thing, what we do is we want to build a business. That's one reason Juan is here. We're doing a lot of different things. Bitcoin Nation. We got a kind of an announcement, because we're going to do on May 15th. Put your calendar aside. We are going to do. We started something called the Bitcoin Standard Academy, and it's not going to. It's going to be. Yeah, we'll have trading. I'll teach trading. It'll be one-on-one. We're actually going to build a room. So we'll have no more than 20 people, and we're going to be teaching everything, from the hodl, save and build is for entrepreneurs, how to save and how to take care of, secure your Bitcoin. We'll be hopefully we'll be able to have the ability to set people up so they can have their own nodes. And then I'll do a trading, hands-on trading when you're here. It'll probably be a 3-day event, but it'll be out that weekend of May 15th, probably Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we can actually, you'd have to fly in. Either you can drive down here to Ensenada, or you can fly into San Diego and we can pick you up.
Yeah, it's going to be a combination of money management, everything that Ugly teaches, everything that's trading oriented. And, he's kind of a star. And there's a lot of people that want to trade with him, and for good reason. He's really fantastic. And then we're going to be doing just kind of like basics of operational security and online security. There's a lot of separate standards of how to protect your Bitcoin all over the internet. And what I've been doing for the past year or so is trying to gather that information with Be Your Own Vault, which is my sort of education company. So we're going to just bring that into an academy. It's going to be really interesting. And obviously we'll take input from everybody.
And you guys have asked me to do this, for years. In fact, I've had people solicit me. We'll set up, you can run a seminar. And you know what? I finally said, okay, we built, this Bitcoin house, or we call it the tech center. We don't really want to, but we built it for this purpose, to teach. We've got, we not only have this studio, but we have plenty of space for classes. And I'm going to build a special trading room with a lot of different monitors. So maybe between now and then, you can give me some speed lessons on your system, and Joe.
Yeah, of course.
It does look like it has promise. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, I know what I do, and I'm very slow to incorporate new things, because I do find that 85% of what I look at, I don't use. I look at, that's interesting, but just because I don't use it doesn't mean it's not useful. Everybody has their own trading style.
Yeah, why don't I give you a quick tour? But there was a great question that was asked for you, and I think you're obviously someone that I highly admire, highly respect. It was because of your speech in Bali that shaped me quite differently as a trader. So I hope it's been a number of months since, but my my money management has made it so I can sleep at night and I could make much better decisions. And so, if I'm making trades with tons of money, and I might be missing some zeros on some trades, but I'm sleeping that night, I'm coming into the market fresh every morning with a clean head. It's just what you did, Ugly, in that class. It really shaped me into a better trader.
I didn't have a class, but I'm just saying, if you wake up and if you can't smile after taking a loss, you're trading too much.
Exactly. I would get pissed for 3 days sometimes. I couldn't touch a computer for 3 days sometimes,
Well, I have another problem now, because, since I started publishing all my trades, I'm not trading in a big way, but I feel so much more responsible. So where I used to have what you're talking about is kind of back now, but for a different reason. Because I really, I want to show people. I hope before I go, I can say, look, I took it'd be great. I started with 0.6 Bitcoin. Yeah. It'd be great if by the end of the year, I run it up to a couple hundred. Hey, I've done it before.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to tell you, me and you are near head to head. I'm going to run through my totals. I think I'm up like 2 point something. on far less capital than I normally would. I think I started with somewhere around like 1.3, so double what you started with, and maybe half your profit. But I was telling people if I'm half as good as Ugly, then I would consider myself a
Well,
quite a
here's the
champ.
deal. Here's the way I say, people don't realize it. They think, oh, these are whales. Hey, you know what? There's a lot of whales that become minnows.
Yeah.
Become beach whales, completely gone.
I heard goat food, isn't it? What you call it?
Goat
I was
food.
cracking up.
Yes, goat food. And so people don't understand that. Most small traders stay small traders, but there are a few small traders that become very large traders. And the wise large trader becomes small again. You don't need, if you're trading because you want to move the market, you want to be, if you're trading because you're on a power trip, you got problems. And you know what? I think that's what you saw. I think you're going to see it. There are going to be some big names before this shit show's all over, particularly with these altcoins, where some big names are going to be gone and broke. We've already seen it, with some people. Toby Weeks is sitting in federal prison without bond, and he's not going to get out for a long time. You've got Jihan Wu. And you very possibly, you've got, we don't know Roger Ver's situation, but if he's serious about this Bcash, and he believes what he's preaching and has been betting on it, he's going to have some major equity problems.
Heavy bags.
Yeah. Now
So,
let me ask you this question though, Ugly, because I don't want to lose this, because this is I think very important. Because Rolf is someone that I highly respect. I don't know if you've met him. But he asks, and I talk to him a lot. He studies your work a lot. And he asks, Ugly, can you explain the December you bought? No December on BitMEX/Deribit, but that would be an even greater contango then, is the question.
Pardon?
So he says, Ugly, can you explain the December you bought? No December on BitMEX or Deribit, but that would be an even greater contango then, right? It's up a little bit.
You bought December.
I bought December. I didn't know there was a December.
There's no December on BitMEX or Deribit, but that would be an even greater contango then.
Oh, maybe.
It should be. Yeah, you want to watch that. So what I'll be watching for, the next one that's going to come on, what is it, June? There'll be a September contract that should be coming on soon. So you want to watch that. Because right now, I'm very, if you notice what I'm doing, I'm actually, rather than sell the December, I'm selling the March and just going to lock in the spread between now and the next 6 weeks. It's a no-brainer. Whether the market goes up to 20,000 or goes down to 8,000, that $270 is going to collapse. Mm-hmm. In the next 5 weeks. And you have to bear that in mind. And what happens is the funding goes up. So, I don't want to buy I don't want to pay this funding. So then they start driving up the futures. And that just what happens there is people that have the Bitcoin, they are selling their Bitcoin or selling the futures rather than the spot. Yeah. And just, that's the way you do it. And that's the only thing that concerns me about this market. Everything, the trends are all up. As you know, I'm a big one on weeklies. I put out a recommendation this week. Hey, we're approaching the previous week's low. If we get close or break it, or I'm going to be a buyer, which I was, and I'm not. It's not the same as buying it last year. When we were, this time last year, we had $3,500 and unconfiscatable. I was the only one there. I said, this market, because of the contango, because of the backwardization, it's not going to break 3,000. And of course, it never did. And of course, I made most of what I made in that first move of the first 6 months. And the breakout didn't occur until April 1st, which was. Now, that's the other thing. That's the solid thing behind this market right now, is you have a similar breakout in January when we went down, had that initial sell-off and then reversed. That's a very strong signal, but not as strong as that one that we had last April. where we just blew through everything. And then when we went to the big contango that last year, and said, hey, be cautious. This is all speculation now. You're paying right now, if you're buying the futures, particularly that March futures, and then think about it, guys, you're paying $270 over spot just for the right to hold it 5 weeks. You know, not a good bet, really not a good bet. And so that's the reality of the market. That's just the way it is. That doesn't mean it, you know, if it goes up to 20,000 between now and the end of March, you're going to look fine, you know, and, but you are coming out of the chute $275 behind spot. So that's the problem.
Igor,
Yeah.
Ugly, where is your stop loss on trade FUSD short? Thank you. Smiley face.
The what?
Your stop loss on Ethereum USD.
I should have already gotten out of it, but I'm just kind of playing with it. I'm going to do a article. Hopefully I'll do it today on trading Bitcoin dominance. And yeah, you shouldn't. You know what? I should stick with Bitcoin, but I do think there's going to be a major. I made a lot of money last year trading the altcoins from the short side, and fundamentally, you know, that's the way, you know, I'm looking to do it again. It's just a question. The problem with altcoins is you don't know, they're thin enough that, you know, they can really run them up. And if you notice, the positions that I take in the altcoins are a very small part of my overall position compared to what I do in Bitcoin. And so what it did, because I did get short properly on the initial Bitcoin US dollar, it gave me enough. I picked up about a half a Bitcoin. So now I was in a great position to buy more Bitcoin when it broke that previous week's low. So the only one that I'm taking second hind tit on is the BTCF what do they call that, combo or trading pair?
Yeah.
And you know, who knows? I mean, some people think Bitcoin's or you know, Ethereum's going to $300 or $400. Very possible. I don't know. I really
very
don't.
Possible.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a small position compared. I mainly what I look at is not so much my individual positions, but I'm looking at my equity. And that's why I want to do the equity. I've done the important thing. Can you put on the BitMEX? Yeah. The important thing is not, and I keep people, okay, the important thing is that margin balance. That's what's important. My margin balance is slowly going up, okay? Even though I do have a losing position on, and the losing position is, of course, the Ethereum. Now, this one here is still a winner. Not by much, but this one here is a loser, and let's see where it's at. Let's go look at this. But the overall is what I'm looking at. That's why this equity app is so important. What I don't want is a big downturn, and so I want to see this 2.8. Hopefully, I'll get it back up. I think if I hit 4, I'll be an equity high again, you know, and then hopefully, you know, hopefully I need to focus more on trading. I got so much going now. I'm not even focused that much on trading. The last couple of days I was, let's see where this thing is. Let's go to the Ethereum. Let's see where this is. Okay. Let's go to the 1 hour, 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, this is just wrong. I'm not too worried about this. And the problem, a lot of times when you sell short, I do it on a scale up and you know, and sometimes you have to suffer through. Now I did it earlier and just got hammered. And finally, you know, my equity was up as high as 4 and I gave half of it back, which I just was really a bad example. If you subscribe, I actually spent a whole newsletter just outlining, you know, what I was doing wrong. But the important thing is here, I'm only got 60 on, and 60, where is Ethereum, the price? So 60 is 280, call it $300, 6 times 3. It's only 18,000 that I'm short. Here I'm only short 10,000. Where I'm long, there's 70, and so I'm net long on Bitcoin. What? Oh, 110,000. So that's the important thing. Now I did sell. I've been long. I just recently sold. I sold this last rally on the March because I do not want to own March. I don't like March. I would rather own either the June or the perpetual. And so I did sell this rally. In fact, you can see I have orders up here. If we go up more, I'm going to be selling more of the March against it, mainly because I'm just going to lock in. I'm selling enough so that this I'll be short 60,000 March. Let's see if that's right. Let's see. Oh, this is yeah. So I got, there's 1, 2, 3. I got 4. You can see the orders up there. If we have another pop up, I'll be a seller. And, I'll just kind of ride that position. And because I know I'm going to collect the difference. It doesn't matter what the market does. I'm in a spread. I'll have to, I'll be paying funding on one side or another. The other thing that I do is once I get a position, I don't swing a lot. In other words, and there might be a time where I get out completely. But what I do is just trade maybe, I was long, I think 160,000, but I've just been trading 10 or 20,000 Bitcoin at a time against it, and been playing the swing market pretty good. I can probably put up the equity app and see what we're doing. That might be a good way to do it.
Oh, I'll get it going.
Okay, let me.
You want to stop the share?
Okay, stop the share. You want to do that?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we got a question here. What would be what do you see as a good reason, or the reason why Contango is so huge on the futures, the March contracts, when spot buying and holding is much cheaper? My thought is those are leverage speculators too. You were showing me this last night.
Yeah, no, that's all it is. It's just it's market people. It's stupid buying is what I call it. I mean, they don't, people that just don't understand. They're trying to avoid the funding, and they think the best way to do it is pay. What is it now? Looks like, you're 275 over, man. That's steep funding, and for 6 weeks, that's pretty steep. Now it could go out wider. Not saying, if it goes out to 500 or 600, I'm going to look stupid, but it doesn't matter because it's going to come back together. It has to come back.
It's settled in Bitcoin.
It's settled in Bitcoin. It will come back down. And it usually happens all at once. And so somewhere along the line, we'll probably get this humongous sell-off, and maybe even go into backwardization. And that's when I'll take off those March. So let me see. Let me pull up. I got to pull this up. Let me see where it is. I think I need to go here, and then I need to go. Okay, equity app. Let's see what I can pull up. There's equity app, because it's a separate screen. It takes a minute.
Yeah. And at some point, let me try to make a believer out of you with the order book. I want to show you some instances of where OB.
Go ahead and do that now. I'll set this equity up.
Yeah, can you share screen?
Yeah. So let me pull this up. Yeah, so I'm gonna drop this to the 30-minute just so that when I zoom out, we have a nice broad view. So this band, just a quick tour. The first band is 0 to 1%. The second band is 1 to 2.5%. From price, and the third band is 2.5 to 5%. So if I zoom out here, you'll see the areas where buyers were so clustered that unless there was a whale to dump into all that support and kill it, there was no way we were going to break these resistance areas. And I'll send you all my trades that have been reported. So basically what this is I can show you exactly when I bought. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have the luxury of sharing certain screens like maybe leveraged exchanges without, doxing myself and potentially hurting my trades. But this is a clear example of, let me show you some examples and counter examples, or generally speaking, how it works. If you have support, we had support going down, and it got brighter and brighter. The brighter the band gets, the stronger the ratio of buys to sells. So the band gets brighter as we're moving in, reach the bottom, and bam, we flash up, we consolidate, and this support band continues to grow, right? We have control of the 1% band, 2 and 5% bands. Push up into consolidation. Now you see where we reach a top. The sellers have then gained control of the book. We have, this is what I call buyer bedrock, right? And this is almost the exact opposite. We would get to a point where buyers are no longer owning the ratio of control in the book. Sellers cap it, and we follow a 4.42% move, 4.35% move, liquidating. On the bottom of my screen there, I also have a liquidations indicator. This took out 105 million longs in this one candle.
Wow.
So we break down, consolidate, a little bit of chop, liquidations in between, lower low, but a confirmed buyer bedrock here. This is where you enter again. Bam. You and particularly one of my entering rules is I call it a 3-star trade, where if you have control of a strong control of 3 of the bands, then you start, dollar cost averaging, cross margin, little bits of leverage into a position. I'm not talking about you see the 3 green bands and you go 10x. I'm talking you go 1x or 0.5x, and you just keep stacking in, and then you get yourself a beautiful buyer bedrock. You can see we popped, we had no support. Sellers controlled it. We came right back to that bedrock, and then we started taking off. Buyers are now chasing the book. The 5% bedrock is being upheld all the way to the point where we create another gap. This is price discovery. People are like, damn, we've gone up pretty high. What's going to happen next, right? This is an uncertainty phase in the market. And mind you, I believe that this entire phase of the market in general, since the 68.50 low, has been pretty much a disbelief phase. And I believe we're coming closer to the end of that disbelief phase. But here's an example of disbelief, price discovery in action. Bulls don't chase the book. We have 1% band control, but sellers do own the 2 and 5 vaguely. Now, a little bit of maturation of these bands comes as a result of consolidation. So in a bull market, I lean bull bias. Now, you can see these bands mature very strong. They get very bright. And we get a little bit of lower lows to a point where sellers can't push it any further. Buyers now own the support. They own the book. They own the bedrock. And bam, we're up again. A new vague price discovery area. And this is where I believe bulls were getting overextended. So this is where we were walking on eggshells, didn't have clear, visible, bright band support, pushing up into what was this 10.2 or so, 10.1. Steep pullback into beautiful support, and this set us up for our next run up, again into a very vague area where price discovery is still questionable. Now, we did have a couple pumps and dumps that really shook this market up, but a very vague area, again, walking on eggshells, a 2.8% dump liquidating another, a 2.5% dump liquidating another 96 million longs. And this is pretty much where we are now, right? We've been struggling to really find some of these, control of some of these aggregations from price. We have strong support going into this bottom, which has currently been the rejection zone, creating a higher low and rocket fuel. But we don't have buyers chasing the book. So the one thing I would add is in this particular trade, I chose technicals over fundamentals. I chose to obey listen to the rules of TD sequential 9 on the 4-hour, which I don't really switch between too many time scales. I kind of pick the 15-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute, just to really see the small stuff. I do, the 4-hour was a technical buy. We had the reversal on the 7. I love getting a reversal before a 9 buy. I love getting a beautiful reversal candle. So I made a technical decision here on the 9 and a technical decision here on the bullish crossover. So this is one example of where, as opposed to listening to the order book analysis, which is clearly bearish, I assumed that we would have enough bullish sentiment in the market that we would have bulls willing to cut through this resistance, which so far has been true.
Yeah. Yeah, but you kind of looks like we're getting into an area where, we're in outer space and floating right now.
This is very toppy looking, and I'm strongly considering my exit very soon. My exit was going to be, my hope was that I could get past 10.1, set up a stop loss at somewhere around 10.50 or so. I'm hoping that we can go to 11K. Past 10.6 is my next major resistance area. But again, look at all the steep overhead resistance we have. Sellers are dominating the book right now. If buyers are exhausted, which is, I believe, is kind of shown in these pockets. If buyers are exhausted, and this was our last, gasp of breath, of fresh air, then I believe that this market is going to run short-term bear, and maybe days, maybe weeks, and it might take a long time to really resolve this overall market structure. But this is the order book in action for you. Sellers are owning
Now,
this
is
stock.
this order book? Is what exchange is this? Is this all?
Oh, okay. So
What? Oh, this is BitMEX. Okay.
yeah, you can
So
choose.
can you pull up? Can you pull up the ETH dollar
Yeah,
chart?
this is
Oh,
I was
cool.
going to show you. You would be happy to see that. Oh, I don't know if you're happy or not happy to see this one, but Ethereum, I'm actually quite bullish on, because we're creating the more we move up, the more I think FOMO we're getting, the more buyers we're going to have chasing the book, and that's going to contribute to this buyer bedrock, and this is
Okay.
going to prevent us from going much lower.
Oh, okay. And how about on the ratio? What does that one look like? The Ethereum, because I might just give up on Ethereum for a while and let it see how high it blows up before. I mean, I'm looking to be a seller, but it might be a seller. I might be a seller much higher than where it is.
Yeah, I think that might have to be the case, because even with a lot of resistance, Ethereum has been pushing. I think there's way more FOMO in Ethereum right now than there has been, over the past
Yeah.
number of months.
Yeah.
So it's clearly maturing. This 5% band is clearly maturing. You do see that this down here is a different representation of the order book depth, 0 to 1%. So in other words, we were talking about those three bands, and this is the 0 to 1% band right here. Up here is the 1 to 2.5, and down here is the 2.5 to 5. So buyers own the bedrock, sellers run the top of the book, and currently they're running a very tight ratio. This value is relatively weak. A sell signal is going to be, I haven't really run back and tested Ethereum, but a sell signal so far, and this is version 1.1 strategy. We're building a bot because this is all unique data. So the programmer has to literally create the bot so that we can run a back test on all these indicators and values. But so far we have a general strategy, and the sell areas, could be values greater than -30, or I should say less than -30. Buy values of greater than +30. So we're, the team, me and the team are working on a way to turn these values, these ratios, into values that you can use as a strategy to make your buying and selling decisions. And as you can see, these don't have to be scalps. These can be long-term buying and selling decisions. You had a beautiful buyer bedrock here that set you up not just to exit at the next, time that bears controlled the market, but if you factor in a little bit of irrationality into the crypto market, which I believe is essential to analysis in crypto, you see that this sets you up for potentially long-term trades. And I've been in a trade as low as 60. My best long is down at 68.88. So this is a great way to catch bottoms. This is a great way, once you have your ducks in a row, particularly a 3-star trade, a pullback into some solid buyer bedrock. Those are going to be where you add 0.1, 0.2, 0.5 leverage to your trade. Whatever you want to feel comfortable with, depends on how far your average entry is, depends on how far your liquidation is. But these are going to be the ways that you can, use these values, and particularly when they get overwhelming, like this color bright, to enter the trade. Now, this is just the visual. These will be the values that we incorporate into what is the strategy for trading the order book.
Okay.
Wow.
Can you pull up the FBTC? Is that programmed in there too or not?
FBTC on which exchange?
On BitMEX. I only trade on BitMEX. I haven't bought any Bitcoin in years because I just trade.
Let me see if we have FBTC on BitMEX. We don't have it on BitMEX. It looks mostly spot exchanges.
What is it? It's what is it? FH20, I think is what it is. Let's see. Hang on. What is that?
Oh, here it is. Yep, I got it right here.
FHH20. FHH20.
And here you have FH20.
Okay.
So we had strong buyer bedrock,
Wow.
extremely powerful 1% control.
Wow.
Buyers were chasing this book. They were running it up. And now we're consolidating with control in the 2.5% band. Sellers do own 5%. We did run up very quickly. There's a lot of theories that are working theories, like how many of these became prospective buyers, market buyers as opposed to limit order buys, bids. So there's a little bit of work to do. This is a brand new product that supplements the overall research that I've put into analyzing the order book. So we're only a month into this data. So it is going to take time to really fine tune this, create the numbers. We're about a week or two away from making the bot. So we have the numbers, and you can, since you're going to the DR, I'm going to be coming into the DR with exact figures on, various conditions on, whatever indicator that we want to use.
When you say bot, I mean something that actually trades for you, or is it just?
Well, no, in this case, the bot is, or I guess let's call it a program. We have to create the program so that we can, so that it'll be able to calculate every trade that would have been made if a certain condition was met. So since this is so new, we're working on that, because how TradingView has Pine Editor. This isn't the same. We don't have an easy way to run the back test. So we literally have to build the bot or the program to run the back test. And that's about a week and a half, maybe 2 away. So from having that bot and then legitimately being able to test strategies, test numbers, and run all these values to see, all right,
wow, who are you using to build this stuff? It's really cool stuff. I mean, I have to admit, it looks like it would be very useful.
Yeah, it's extremely powerful. And, combine this with some existing knowledge, I can't imagine the direction this can go for so many people. But the programmer, his name is Alex, and he's an absolute mastermind. You don't know how long I've been trying to find someone who can convert what I would have to do manually and memorize all this stuff and remember what the order book looked like over the past 2-3 days. And this guy made it so we can have the exact data at what time. I mean, we can drop this to a 1 minute so you can really see how these bands mature.
So he's pulling it all off of TradingView, or is he pulling it off?
No, this is directly off of each individual exchange. This is all data. Okay. Yeah, so that we're getting fresh data. I mean, I'm telling you, the guy that created this engine is a brilliant architect. I look at this as art, and I have no doubt that you're going to find value in this. And maybe in a small session, I can set you up with how I have my indicators customized. So maybe you can play around a little bit.
Yeah, I would like to play around. It'd be great. We can maybe if we do this thing in May, it'd be let's work on it. And if you're free, maybe you can come down here with this academy, because I really think we can. We're going to make it a Bitcoin Standard Academy. Now it'll be trading academy, but it's going to be more than just trading. It's kind of we want to appeal this to entrepreneurs. Because once you have Bitcoin, you need to learn how to manage it. Trading is one aspect, and you can trade, if you learn the correct management. If you're only trading a small part of that hodl, you can do it and do it very successfully. And it's not so much, sometimes you just, you're not going to, number one, you never sell all your hodl. You always have some Bitcoin. So because you don't know, when it can go to infinity at any time. So you never get rid of your hodl. But by the same token, I've known people, they held all the way through the 20,000 and went down to 3,000, and then they needed something and they had to sell out at 3,000,
Yeah.
So you have to live. I mean, this is not just hodling. I have a family to feed and have lots of demands, and that's what we have to do. So let me put on I don't have something near as sophisticated what you have, but here's, I guess I'll have to talk to Victor to make this prettier, but here is the equity app.
Let me show you. It's not.
Make it okay. And then we can make it full screen.
This guy, right?
Yeah. All right, let's make this bigger, and boom. All right. I don't know what this is all about, but okay. So here we are. This is my equity. This is the 1 hour, and I think it's my total position. And the whole thing is, we don't want this thing to go down. This does not reflect the market. This just reflects my equity on my, and we're trying to figure, I mean, people are going back because they want to see how does Ugly do this. So they actually, if they subscribe to my newsletter, they get the whole CSV file of every trade I made since February last year. And so they're actually plugging it in, doing studies to see, because, you know, I can't explain some of the things I do. I just, you know, I just do them. And, you know, it just comes from
by touch, you know.
Well, it's not by touch. I mean, I put a lot of thought and study in it, but here we go. You know, now I want this equity. This is the daily. And I don't know when we started it, but we're still, that was from a peak, but you can see I knocked my position. Again, I started out with just 0.6 Bitcoin, and it looks like I'm on a 4. When if this equity goes up to 9, I'm going to be real
parabolic.
Yeah, I'm going parabolic right now. Well, I'm long the Bitcoin. So let's go look at a shorter time frame. That's the day. And let's go, we do, I'm not going to do the week. There's the week. A little bit there. Here's, let's go.
So can you explain the different charts here? You got position, you got realized P&L, and then.
Yeah, I got to get Victor on here to explain all this, because I really don't. And then there's all kinds of things you can do. The problem is I kind of just watch it. But I watch that box. That's why I like. And what this is this is just a chart of that box.
Right.
That's all it is.
That's cool.
And so everybody's going to have a different chart depending upon your own equity. Now this is the 4 hour. It looks like I should be turning around, which I'm trying to. I'm on an 8 on the 4 hour.
Short yourself in that?
Huh?
Can you short yourself?
I can just reverse positions. And here's the hourly. And I have been selling some stuff, but I'm probably going to just get out of the Ethereum, because it looks like I'm just sucking hind tit, and you want to cut losses short and let your winners ride.
Well, what I like about this app is that it gives you a kind of insight into your own sentiment rather than focusing on the market sentiment, which can be really useful, right? Because it lets you see your own biases, which can be
right. And what I try and teach people, put it back on so they can see me. What I try and teach people, it really doesn't matter what the market's doing. Okay, if you have your hodl and so forth, you think it matters, but it really doesn't. The only thing that matters is you and your equity. So that's so important. So if you can watch that equity, you want to avoid those big downturns. You want to avoid that lifestyle that Joe was talking about, where you get pissed off at yourself for losing the trade and then you can't sleep, because I know guys, they've lost lots. They lost a fortune. They've lost all of their savings. They've lost hundreds of thousands, some people millions of dollars, and they're looking for one big trade to make it all back. It's not going to work that way, guys. You need to go right back down. I started with a fraction of a Bitcoin. And I'm going to try and see what we can do with it. And, make it a challenge, make it a challenge. And,
I was going to say, it's a game, when you're turning 0.6 into, whatever, it's like, at some point, I totally agree.
I mean, I can lose that whole account. It's not going to affect me one way or another. I don't want to, because my whole reputation's on the line. I'm trying to teach everybody. And, so sometimes I sweat this more than I ever sweat when I have a large position on, because I kind of know what I'm doing. But now I feel a lot more responsible because I'm publishing these trades. So I hope some people, signed up for the newsletter. Oh, and they thought they said, I want my money back because I thought you were going to tell me what to do. And I said, no, I'm showing you what I've done, and hopefully you can learn from that. And I will, give you the best advice I can give you, but you have to learn to trade on your own. This tool that Joe has, it looks like it'll be a very useful tool. I'm going to put it into my repertoire. I like it a lot better. What was that one that we saw at Bali? I wasn't that where they had the BWAP and all that. I don't know. But I don't know. Some of these, and I always get real suspicious when somebody brags their system, after the fact. Show me your track record for the last year. Not in back trading, but just send me your CSV file and we'll put it on the equity app. So, and that's a different story. People don't want to talk. the guys that are selling their services, they talk about the winners without, explaining, hey, there's a lot of risk. And no matter what you're doing, there's risk. You're not going to avoid the risk. You're not always going to be right. And I made plenty of mistakes last year. I mean, I was kicking myself for some of the mistakes I made last year, but the bottom line, I'll land on my feet, at the end of the day, and that's why I say, if you can trade for a year and break even, you're on your way to become a successful trader, because that's a hard thing to do, to trade an entire year and not lose anything.
See, one of the things you said in Bali, right after Bali, that you sent out a newsletter, because we were there together when Bitcoin pumped from 7.3 to 10.5. It was my final night sleeping there when we pumped up. I stayed one extra night and left the following day. And I remember your article was got wrecked, get right back in. And I was like, how the hell is he doing this? I need some decompression time after that. I was short. It was the market was clearly short. I didn't know about backwardation at that time. And so had I seen, backwardation, the state we were in, I'm looking back on it, I'm just like, this is unbelievable. And that goes into a question I wanted to ask you, and I spoke to Rolf about this, who again is a mentor. I was going to ask you, can a market go into contango or into backwardation in a bull market, or do you have any experience with that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, let's put it this way. Backwardization should never occur in a market like gold, silver, or Bitcoin. And because it was occurring in Bitcoin, and because people didn't understand it, I don't think you're going to see it very often. Because it's highly speculative, you can. But I remember it was in backwardization for months back in 2016, and everybody was so bearish and say, well, just look at the futures. It's $200 below the spot. Bitcoin. And I said, that's really bullish. That's so bullish you won't believe it, because what happens is, they're selling. If you're a miner, you're selling on the spot, and you're buying those futures, and you're going to pick up they didn't really want to sell, but I'll sell it because I can buy the futures cheaper. And the same with commercial interest. Now, the fact that, that's the problem that you have now is, this market has a, and maybe we will take Ethereum up and pop it way up, and Bitcoin won't go anywhere for a while. That's possible, because this I don't think you're going to go into a bear on Bitcoin. It's too strong, unless we do something. I mean, there's nothing impossible, but I bought it, but I'm not, real excited about it. It's not like it was last year at this time. And there's nothing that says this market can't go down to 8,000. Yeah. I know everybody's looking at the moving average, and that's great, but moving averages don't always work. You get in a choppy market, there's nothing worse than moving averages, and it's something to look at, but you have to remember that a trending market is the exception and not the rule.
Got it.
And most of the time, a market is choppy, and that's what it was. I mean, we had the big bull run from January of last year till June, and then we just went into all kinds of choppiness, and then we didn't really turn it around until the first of this year again. So, and there's certain things I can teach people, like, I should have never had a position on over the holidays. Normally over the holidays, the markets don't do anything, and then come January, when that thing, pumped down and reversed, boy, that was a huge buy signal. Now you're in from there, you just hang on there.
I'll in a private, when this thing is done, like due to jurisdictional reasons, I don't want to show too much. But if it's just us after the video, I'll show you something. You'll be loving this wick that I caught down at 6,800. So I think you'll crack up at that.
Yeah. Well, it was, the opportunities are there, but you can't be, and the backwardization, they're tough to catch, because it only lasts, the moments that we've had it like last year, they only lasted maybe 30 minutes or an hour. And it was, that was it. That was the bottom, and the market reversed.
Yeah.
So, And then once it goes into that, and that's what bothers me right now about the Bitcoin market is, and I don't know what your indicators are showing. It looks like it says you're in a hot air zone. It looked like.
Yeah, right now this has been what I was looking for to exit my longs potentially. I was hoping that we would get here and that breaking through 10K would stimulate a little bit more bullish action. And like you're saying, the exception, the bull market, the trend is the exception. That's why I made this bet, adding leverage at 9,800, because I just, we had this really strong confluence of bullish indicators. And to me, I don't really use too many. It was just kind of the golden cross and the 4-hour 9 that really had me thinking, you know what? If the market was to do something irrational right now against my fundamental analysis, it would be now. And here we have it. I was very pleased to take a nap while this thing pumped before our show. I took a nap, for a couple hours, woke up and Bitcoin's above 10K again. And I'm like, all right, now it's time to prepare the exits. This is what I was hoping for. You normally get what you hope for in Bitcoin. Now that I have it.
No, you don't. I'll put in order. People, well, I want to see all your orders. Well, most of the time they never get filled. I mean, I put in orders that, I put out high ball and low ball orders because sometimes I catch those spikes. And so there's nothing wrong with putting in ridiculous orders. So
anyway. Yeah, every trade is a risk. And that's one thing people don't, I think, tend to understand is that every single trade that I've made in Bitcoin is a risk. And I'm same. I'm sure you would agree. It's always.
Oh yeah. Well, life is a risk. Yeah. There's no such thing as security. We try and make, like I say, if you believe in the government for Social Security, what'd you say?
Leah's in the chat.
Oh, Leah. Well, Leah, you want to see, send her a link. Have her come on.
Yeah. I think.
Leah, can you come on now or no?
Yeah.
We'll see if she can.
Yeah, that's great.
Because she'd be great. We need to show her the.
Rolf's got some really good commentary. Rolf says, if this contango is because of speculators not understanding futures, then we can see backwardization again as well. People trying to avoid funding and think they're betting on the future price. Great.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Read that again.
Okay. Yeah. So he says, if this contango is because of speculators not understanding futures, then we can see backwardization happening as well again. People trying to avoid funding and think they're betting on a future price.
Right. Yeah, and they don't understand that the futures is a function. The contango is a function of storage costs and interest, or the funding. In this case, it's called funding. That's what it should be. If you look at the gold and silver market, gold storage costs are less than silver, and because it takes less space. And but the interest is the same, so there's not that big a difference. But it costs more to store silver than it costs to store gold at a registered exchange. Well, with Bitcoin, there is a storage cost too, because it's mainly not. I mean, it's a risk factor, but the main factor is interest rate or funding. So I know. Oh, okay. She can't do it. Okay. So, the funding rate with I know Willie Woo has been, he doesn't look so much at the funding rate, but he doesn't look when I look at the funding rate, but he's actually looking at where that's derived from. It's kind of the chicken and egg thing. It's just simpler for me to look at the funding. But he's looking at where that funding comes from in his fundamental analysis. He's a great fundamentalist. So, since, particularly since I kind of did brought it to people's attention, and I know there's a lot of people a lot smarter than I am that, have been doing a lot of work in it, particularly if they're running a hedging operations, because it is an arbitrage that you're doing. And like right now, I mean, it's shooting fish in the barrel. How many times do you pick up a trade with $275 in it? And by buying the perp and selling the marks, that's what you've done. Now you're going to pay the funding. So you're a little bit, funding goes way up. It might eat most of it up. but that's a pretty big. I mean, I don't know what that compounds to. I'd have to do a quick calculation, but I just know it's going to go to zero. That's the number one thing. So as that thing wide, and if the price goes up, it could widen out a little bit more. But at expiration, the perp and the march are going to be one, and most likely it's going to get overdone like it always is. And sometime between now and March, that march is going to go under the perp, and that's when you cover your shorts. That's when you cover your shorts.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. I cannot wait for the next backwardation. Like that's ever since you introduced it to me, and it was the last time I had an opportunity to really visualize its impact was in Bali. So it's like I can't wait for the next state of backwardation. That's like one thing that I've been really looking forward to as a
The
trader.
problem with it is if you're caught during that sell-off and you get in there prematurely, you might be out of funds. That's why you always want to have a reserve.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ever want to be in a position where that that sharp spike is going to wipe you out. So,
I did notice that just about each time there's one last little wick that maybe shakes a few people out, and then backwardation just kicks sometimes a double-digit move or more. It's just beautiful.
And the backwardation is caused by the speculative liquidation. It's basically the fools that just got way overboard on their positions, and they get blown out. And it's not a flash crash. It's rapid, but not like you had in what was that market the other day? A Ripple.
XRP, yeah.
You had that real flash crash. Well, that's why you use liquidation instead of stops. They ran through stops, but the index didn't drop hardly at all. So as long as you had, that's why I don't recommend people use stops. But you need to know what you're doing. You will the feature that BitMEX has that I take my hat off to you, Arthur Hayes, because you really improved the market so much. The fact that you're limited, you're lost. You cannot lose more than what you have put up on the exchange. They socialize the losses if things get real crazy, but rarely, if ever, happens. But as long as you use you get liquidated rather than stopped out, you're not going to be subjected to those spikes where they run through all the stops on some kind of a spike move, which it can be manipulation, but sometimes it happens. Somebody just fat fingers a trade, big trade they didn't even mean to do. A market order can do that stuff. I've done it before. I've made some spikes in the market just through fat fingering. And you talk about being sick. It took me a couple of days to recover from some of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think we're done. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. So we'll be there tomorrow, late afternoon or evening. So yeah, maybe you and me and Socrates can go out and at least have a beer if we, So are you staying at the D?
Yeah, I'll be at the D. Me and Sock, he set up some reservations for us to have some dinner. So I'm going to be with him, and if you have the time, maybe you can join us, and it'll be a great time.
What time are you guys going to go to?
I'm not sure exactly the reservation time. I'll send you a message.
All right, just let me know, because we're probably going to be there. I'm going to say I'll be happy if we're there by 6 or 7. Maybe if we get there sooner, it'd be great. But knowing us, we want to leave at 9 or 10 in the morning, and we rarely get that accomplished because we've got so much fun. So, guys, go to Unconfiscatable. Last minute push.
It's gonna be great.
Huh? Show what? Oh yeah, show the Unconfiscatable. Go to the conference. I think it's still $250.
Yep.
Yeah, the lineup is legendary. Basically, there's
we went through
top names. It's incredible. Yeah, we went through it a couple of times.
Yeah, we all went through all this, but just really incredible. If you want to get a Bitcoin Standard Bearer staff, I got 12 of them. First come, first serve basis. It's 0.15 Bitcoin. The 0.1 goes to Tyler Jenks. And the 0.5 just goes back to me to cover the expenses of this thing. But hopefully we will sell the 12 that I'm bringing, and get lots more orders. If you buy a staff, you'll be in the nominating process next year for this, and we want to make it an award. The whole thing is we want it not to just be an honorary reward. We want it to have a little bit of teeth in it too. And especially when we do it for the Understanding Bitcoin conference, the Bitcoin developers, the guardians, because these guys, particularly the guys that have been in Bitcoin just for a few years and missed out. They weren't really early adopters, but they're still working on the code. They don't get paid to work on Bitcoin code. They just do it because they see the value in keeping it secure. And we really, it's our responsibility to kind of take care of them. And we want this award to really be something that's sought after and become a legend of its own. So, because I think Bitcoin's going to be around for
a
long time, at least.
That's the bet.
Yeah, I think at least a few generations and maybe a whole lot longer. I know I'm not going to live to see the end of it, and I don't think you or either one of you two will either. So you guys need to carry. When I'm gone, you need to carry the torch. When you're my age, that's just your job.
Yeah, we'll pass it forward. That's a promise.
All right.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Joe. I hope you guys, how many people do we have on?
Oh, we had big numbers. We had like 100 and something.
Okay, great. All right. Well, see you tomorrow, people. If you're coming to the conference, I'm going to try and get an article out yet today. And give me a lesson. So we're going to do that now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
thanks. We gotta figure out how to.
Yeah.
Let me just say thank you to everyone, and thank you, Conrad, for your time. Ugly. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much. I'm happy to be a part of the hopefully Bitcoin staff bearer crew, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. So, anyways, my sign off. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. I just wanted to get you on because I know I knew you were coming, and we need to get some excitement going because. Man, you need to come to this conference. It is the one that you don't want to miss. All right. We'll see you guys. Hodl, hodl, hodl. Save, save, save. Build a. Sound money.
No, don't end the meeting. Don't do it. Just cancel the live stream. I don't know. I don't know where the live stream is.
I think you have to do that.
All right.
Oh, I think they left me on. Yep, guys. Moon be with you, everyone. I'm signing off here too. See you guys later. Take care.